So Freedom Industries is the company that leaked the toxic chemicals into the water supply in West Virginia and Elk River. And to give you a sense of how toxic those chemicals were, let me quote here from the West Virginia Department of Health and Human Resources. What those chemicals could do was cause, quote, severe burning in throat, severe eye irritation, nonstop vomiting, that sounds fun, trouble breathing, or severe skin irritation such as skin blistering. New York Times says 122 people went to the hospital, and as you know now, for 5 straight days, nobody could shower in the water, drink the water, use the water to prepare food. It was an absolute disaster for the 300,000 people that were affected. Well, now we find out that, of course, Freedom Industries is connected to Koch Industries. Say it with me. Of course. Now, they don't own it. They don't own it. Let's be clear about this. Joshua Herzing is the Director of Business Development for Freedom Industries. And he says about a deal that they struck a couple of years back, about 5 years back. He says, Georgia Pacific's long-standing technical expertise and R&D capabilities, combined with the industry knowledge, skill, and reputation of Freedom Industries, will provide an excellent platform for growth and development of new technology to meet existing and future customer demands. We are proud to be part of Georgia Pacific's strategy as a global supplier of mining reagents in multiple market segments. Georgia Pacific, owned by Koch Industries. So what these guys do is they use these chemicals to clean the coal for Koch Industries. So, of course, there had to be a connection. Now, I'm going to get back to the actual owners in a second, but understand that this is exactly why Koch Industries argues for deregulation throughout the country. So, whether it's themselves or their business partners like Freedom Industries, what they want to do is deregulate so they pay less. If Freedom Industries doesn't have to deal with any regulation, as was the case here, remember the reason we found out that they had not been inspected since 1991, and the reason that we had the leak in the first place is because if you make chemicals, you are regulated. But if you store chemicals, as they were doing, you are not regulated. And when you're not regulated, at some point, you cut corners, and guess what? 7,500 gallons of toxic chemicals flow into the river. But that's exactly what Freedom Industries and Koch Industries want. They want to be able to cut corners. They want it to be cheaper. If it's cheaper for Freedom Industries, well, it's cheaper for Koch Industries. They're not arguing for deregulation because of some libertarian ideology. It's not like they read Ayn Rand and they were like, oh man, ooh, I didn't think about that. That's a good point in Atlas Shrugged. I mean, no, they're doing it for their bottom line. And if it winds up hurting your family, they don't give a damn about it. Now, if you think the Koch guys are sketchy, wait till you get a load of the guys who run Freedom Industries, or the guy who founded it. The co-founder is Carl Lemley Kennedy II. So what's his story? Well, the Charleston Gazette explains. Freedom Industries, the company responsible for contaminating the water of 300,000 Kanawha Valley residents, was founded by a 2-time convicted felon and benefited from the 2009 federal stimulus. So what kind of a felon was he? Well, first of all, of course, he didn't pay his taxes. Another classic move by conservatives. These goddamn takers, they don't even pay any 47% of the country doesn't pay taxes. Oh, really? What did you get busted for? Not paying taxes. You know how you're supposed to withhold from your employees for their Social Security and Medicare and then give it to the government so that those people could have Social Security and Medicare when they retire? Yeah, he withheld it from the employees and then put it in his pocket. Convicted felon because of that, okay? That was for over $1 million. So what was his second conviction for? Drug dealing. He was a cocaine dealer, okay? Now, he didn't serve that long for that because he ratted out fellow cocaine dealers. And then he found a better racket. The better racket is deal legalized drugs, in this case, other kinds of chemicals, and if you're a legitimate businessman, then instead of having the government come after you, the government works for you. You just pay off a couple of politicians, and next thing you know, they argue that deregulation is the answer. We shouldn't look into your toxic chemicals at all. And then you're free to do whatever you like. You think these are all upstanding businessmen who just worked hard and pulled themselves up by the bootstraps? Sometimes they are, and sometimes they're just crooks who found a better racket.